Good morning. My name is John Mundell. I'm an Economy of Communion business owner from the United States, and I've had a business here for about 24 years. We do environmental consulting work. We're engineers and scientists. I joined the Economy of Communion because I really wanted to adopt its business lifestyle and what it was trying to do, which was to solve poverty around the world. I've been asked this morning to talk a little bit about ethics in business. And so this will be a short and sweet presentation, but I want to talk about a few things. First of all, what is ethics? Uh, why be ethical? Uh, and especially why be ethical in an economy of communion business? And then I'll share some experiences that I've had to make ethical choices. Okay? Very, very straightforward. First of all, what's ethics? Ethics is really a system of moral principles that governs appropriate conduct of people. Some people say it's a branch of philosophy that deals with morality, which is distinguishing between good and evil actions in the world, right and wrong actions in the world, virtuous and non-virtuous actions in the world. You know, really ethics tries to answer the question, how should we live? And ethical beliefs, they shape the way we live, what we do, what we make, the kind of world we create. And ethics isn't just some would say, well, the ethics are for philosophers or intellectuals, but no, it really ethics is at the very core of our everyday life, especially business life. And being ethical really helps define us as human beings because we have the capacity to make choices as human beings, logical choices. And so in ethics, people try to answer the question of how to live by reflecting typically on difficult situations. What would I do in a particular situation under the same set of circumstances? Ethics is also about relationships, which is what we're about in the economy of communion, how we interact with people, because we don't make our decisions or our actions in a vacuum. We're always interacting with people. And it's really struggling with that fact about how we develop our conscience. We each have different experiences, and so the way we develop what tells us what's right and wrong is different. I think people who are involved in the economy of communion have a certain background. Many of us have tried to live a certain spiritual lifestyle, for example, or have been exposed and have been around people who have been really trying to live a very ethical life and also even a heroic life in many instances. Um, so really, ethics explores difficult questions and oftentimes trying to accept the cost of doing what's right sometimes, because sometimes these ethical choices in business, for example, will cost us. It may cost us money, it may cost us time, it may cost us um, something, stability for the business. And so we're really about answering, what should we do? What action should we do in different circumstances? So secondly, why be ethical? Uh, some people say, well, it's you do the right thing. That's being ethical, the right thing to do. Or just do it, just do the right thing. Um, Many people say that the main reason to be ethical is so that if you get caught, you don't get in trouble. So it's all about personal kind of thing, and I don't think that's what we think at all. But some people would say that. If you get caught, you want to make sure that you're not embarrassed. Well, different people are differently motivated. That's not really the core of what we're thinking about is why we want to be ethical. Um, Ethical, just as a kind of business philosophy, separate from the economy of communion, being ethical is really oftentimes good for a business. If a business operates ethically, consistently, people like working with the business. Clients like working with you. If they can count on the way you would behave in different aspects, if they feel like you don't cheat them, if they feel like you're telling the truth, if they feel like you're honest, then people tend to want to work with you and your business is more successful. Um, employees like working with honest business owners. They see that you treat others honestly, you will also treat the employees honestly. So so that makes for a successful business, because you will oftentimes have lower turnover, or you will attract perhaps a higher level of employee that wants also to live that way. So also investors like to know that you're an honest business. They want, if they want to put money down, they want to know that you're not going to cheat them, or that you're going to do the right thing, even sometimes in the short term if it hurts the business. So there are a lot of real reasons to be ethical, and that could be good for business. Why should we be ethical in the economy of communion? I'll let you think about it a second. For me, when I decided to adopt this lifestyle of communion, then I did it because I wanted my business life to be consistent with my own personal set of beliefs. And my own set of beliefs, we're trying to live for a united world, for helping build this relationships among all people. And so I found that try to live ethics in the economy of communion because it's consistent with the way I believe, and it brings me happiness when I live that way. I don't live a divided life that can cause all kinds of internal kind of irritations, or you know, distractions. So if we truly believe in this vision of no one in need, of universal brotherhood and sisterhood, then any action that prevents us from helping to achieve that dream is like having a pebble in our shoe. It's an irritation. So I also want to make this point. Being ethical, or what is ethical in the economy of communion, for a business owner may be different than what is being ethical for someone else who doesn't know this spiritual lifestyle. For example, if you try to live the aspect of be the first to help others, you can see the company cube behind me on my shoulder there, be the first to help others. If we sometimes see someone needing help, something inside of us will tell us we need to help that person. That's what we're called to be in the economy of communion. Well, and then if we don't do that, we've made an ethical decision not to help someone, then for our morality, that's not living up to our standards. Whereas someone else, if someone else who's not does not know the economy of communion, if they see someone needing help and they don't do it, they may not be as sensitive to that choice. So really, this idea of loving in business, loving others, building relationships, caring, uh, it really presents high moral standards for us to follow. In fact, I think it's ultimately some of the highest moral standards, because we're called to give everything, to live this kind of life where we really live for people. We call the economy of communion a person-centered uh, business model, and it is. So the question is, well, will we always be successful? Have I always been successful at it? No, I have not. I have to tell you, there are many times that I've made a few choices in the past that I regretted doing. For example, I remember being in one meeting one time, and someone asked me, "What do you think about this competitor of yours? I heard they're not so good." And so I kind of thought, and the guy was right. They weren't that great of a company. They didn't do good work. And I kind of fell in a trap of telling them, yeah, I've heard that too, and here's what's wrong with the work I've seen. And I realized later I was saying that to make myself and our company look better, and I regretted it. And I later went back to the person and said, hey, I want to let you know I don't felt good about how I talked about this competitor, because I don't know them as well as perhaps I could, and you're going to have to make that judgment yourself. And so don't rely on me and what I said. So I felt bad about that, and that's happened a few times over the years. So anyway, the economy of communion is a business lifestyle. It's exactly that. It's the way we live in business, and so that connects to ethics. Ethics is how we live our lives. So we don't, we don't think of, it's not a business philosophy like, oh, how are we going to live ethics? It is our life in business. So anyway, let me give you a few examples that I've been faced with in business. Early on, I was asked by a city that I had worked for to make a political donation to the mayor. Uh, and in the United States, that's like saying if I don't give money to the mayor, then the city will not hire us again. So it was kind of it was an ethical dilemma. Do I go ahead and give money to the mayor's political campaign in order to continue getting business, or what do I do? How do I face that? What would you do? In the economy of communion, I realized, I had to be honest and I had to try to live the way I believed. So I sent a letter to the mayor and I made a donation, but I said, I'm making a donation to you and to your opposing candidate because I don't believe that our ability to get work with the city should depend on my donation to your campaign. I would be happy to donate, but I will also donate to the other campaign. So, and we received some feedback from that years later about that letter because we gave to the campaign, but we also gave to the other guy. One time we received a payment for work we did, and then the next day we received another payment for the same work we did. 2 checks, the same amount. What would you do? Well, my administration person at that time asked me, we're gonna keep those checks, right? And I said, no, we're going to send one of those checks back. You don't keep money that is not yours. That's an obvious thing, right? It was a temptation for that administration guy. Like, well, let's see if they find out, and maybe we'll hold on to his check and then pay him. I said, no. Anytime we have that problem, we have to be honest and send them the check. Send them the check back. It was a real easy for me at that time. Here's a question. When you hire someone and to help you on a project and they send you a bill, how fast do you pay that bill? Well, sometimes people pay that bill when they themselves finally get paid by a particular client, and they hold money until the subcontractor until they get paid. And so what we've developed over the years is a philosophy of paying our subcontractors immediately, almost after they finish the work. That is unheard of in the United States. Why do we do that? That's beyond ethics. Is that ethical? Is that even an ethical question? For us in the economy of communion here, it is. Because if we try to put ourselves in the shoes of the other person to live the golden rule, we realize that we would like to get paid quickly because that helps with cash flow in a business, the money coming in and out. And so what we found is we pay our subcontractors very quickly. So what's been the result of that? Our subcontractors love working for us. They immediately respond. They do all kinds of heroic acts to make us look good because we're good clients. We don't have to pay them quickly, but we choose to, and that's developed these very trusting relationships. We've even paid them sometimes when we ultimately didn't get paid by our client that we were all working for. So we absorbed their bill and never got paid for it. Short term, that causes problems sometimes because you're really trying to manage a business and you may be short on cash as a result of that. But long term, that's helped us be an even better company than we have been. I talked to you about the competitor thing, about saying bad things about competitors, and I can tell you after that, a couple of those early hiccups, what I developed is a philosophy of treating our competitors like friends. And I'll tell you the result of that. This would be the case where if I was looking for some people to hire, and so I received their resumes, and I saw these resumes, and we hired some people from these resumes, but I had all these resumes left over, and I thought, what should I do? Well, to be loving, I wanted to find work for these people. So I sent these resumes to my competitors. And guess what? Many of those people were hired by my competitors and became some of the best employees of those competitors' companies. That's kind of a crazy thing to do, right? Is that ethical? Was that an ethical question? Well, for me, it kind of was. It was this idea of how do I love everyone? So what's happened over the years. We've sent work to competitors when we were too busy or we needed help. We worked with competitors. Um, we've taught competitors how to do their work better by presenting how we do our work in professional organizations. And so what's happened over the years from that is that we've developed these close relationships with competitors. Competitors of ours have recommended us to other people and our clients. Uh, in fact, one time a client called a competitor because they wanted to check and see if they could get any dirt on us. Are we really as good as they say? And the competitor says, no, you'd be very lucky to hire those people at Mundell and Associates. So for me, that's really the test, the ultimate test in ethical behavior. How do you treat your competitors? Do you treat them like enemies? Do you treat them badly? Do you treat them like friends? So, so those are just a few examples. I know this shouldn't be very long. I have lots more ethical decisions I've had to make, but I've always felt that in order to live the economy of communion, we try to live what we truly believe, which is to be honest, to be loving, to be caring, to be transparent. And all of those things, after this many years, I look back and I feel like I've lived a very fulfilled life. I've married my business life with my personal beliefs, and I'm happy. Has it been easy? No, it hasn't been easy, but it's been fulfilling and it's made life rich. And as a result, there are many good relationships that have developed over the years. So live ethically. You'll be happy if you do. Sometimes you will fail. If you do, start again the next day and decide again to live ethically. All right, good luck and have a good meeting. And I hope to see all of you sometime in Africa. Take care now.